purpose. This morning in Al-Aqsa Mosque, Israel evicts people of their homes, continues with its sheer violations of the very basic rights of people, and then they try to blame the react rather than the act. This must stop, and we must really visit the root causes of all this, and the root cause of all this is Israel's insistence on the very denial of people's basic rights. Tonight, as we speak, Emily, people are demonstrating in Palestine all over, including cities inside the Green Light in 48 Palestine, in Jaffa, in Haifa, in Nazareth. Why do you think people are demonstrating? They're fed up. They're fed up of their rights being denied. They're fed up of being pushed away. They're fed up of their homes being taken away.
Let's break that down bit by bit if we can. You see it very clearly. The Israelis think that Hamas are a radical terror group and that Palestinian officials use these holy times to incite violence. Was Hamas right to respond with rocket fire?
This isn't about Hamas. Hamas was not involved. There were tens of thousands.
When they fired rockets.
Hamas did not decide to evict people from their homes inside the occupied city of Jerusalem. East Jerusalem is occupied not according to my law only, but according to your law, according to the UK position, according to the United Nations. An occupation has to be temporary, and it has to respect the rules that govern occupation. Israel has made mockery of these rules, particularly the issue of population transfers, ethnic cleansing, apartheid. I'm sure you have read the Human Rights Report. Those people have researched Israeli policies over the last 2 years. Ask the experts, not Netanyahu. Netanyahu is flaming.
Of the settlements, but let's just try and understand this, because Dori Gold, the former Israeli ambassador to the UN, has told us it was pre-planned by Hamas. The march had nothing to do with it. You wanted to make Israel look bad. Do you condemn the rocket attacks by Hamas?
I condemn, and I condemn Israeli aggression. I mourn for the 20 people who were murdered in Gaza only tonight. 9 of them are children. I am so sad to see the hundreds of my people
but you know, so I'm not asking about Israeli aggression. I will do that in a moment. I'm asking you about Hamas's aggression.
I am not aware of any Israeli who has been killed. And you ask me a question about violence and condemnation. Who should be condemned, Emily? Who should be condemned? Did you see the images of the 9 children being dissipated in Gaza tonight? Who should be condemned? And then the UK Foreign Secretary is quick to condemn Hamas and never to condemn the Israeli atrocities on a daily basis. We are sick and tired of the double standards, and we have to call it right this time. Call a spade a spade.
Is it the Western governments? Is it? You heard the statement from Dominic Raab today. He condemned the firing of rockets. What is your response to the UK government?
Always the story begins when Palestinian reaction happens, as if it started with Hamas. Look at your question. Your question is about Hamas, rockets.
But that's because I'm talking to you.
No, Emily. I have done many interviews. It starts with the Palestinian reaction, with the symptom of the illness. It never visits the illness. The illness is that this state, Israel, the occupying state, has been applying draconian measures against our people in every sense, depriving them the right to move, the right to own their property, the right to work, the right to vote in a free elections, including in East Jerusalem. Every right you can imagine, and not only by the way inside the occupied territories, but even inside Israel itself. There is a Knesset law that has deprived our people inside Israel their basic rights of having self-determination. This whole system has been built endemic. In it is the racism, endemic in it is the vulgar ultra-nationalism. That's why you get people trying to defend their dignity. And that's why, if you see the images, don't listen to me. Look at the footage. People were praying. And by the way, put aside the Aqsa Mosque, one sentence. Put aside the Aqsa Mosque. Only last week, it was the Holy Fire, Easter, and the Israeli authorities prevented Palestinian Christians.
You're not debating. I'm going to put you
from praying. So this isn't about Muslims. This is about Palestinians. This is about Israel insisting that we are second-class, not even citizens. We have no rights. We are ought to be brutalized with silence. And when we act with dignity, when we resist this, the whole thing becomes about our resistance and our struggle.
And I understand very much those underlying issues. Let me ask you specifically about the Al-Aqsa Mosque, because that's not something that you will debate tonight for obvious reasons. Israeli police say they believe it was being used as a military stronghold. That was why they started sending in their stun grenades. What is your response to that?
It's nonsense. It's nonsense. My response to that is ask the Red Cross, ask all the international observers there. People were going in the holiest of months, that is Ramadan, in the holiest night of Ramadan, Laylat al-Qadr, they were there to pray. If you look at the images, the Israeli soldiers stormed Al-Aqsa Mosque while they were praying, while they were kneeling, and started throwing all the gas and stun grenades and what have you, brutalizing people. Look at the numbers, look at the hundreds who have been injured, and therefore this whole propaganda should not work. Israel is deliberately trying to flare the situation, especially politicians, right-wing extreme politicians, to dodge criminal charges that is Netanyahu facing, and to feed the populism in Israel right now, and the right-wing extreme